everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Jagged Edge. It's number 94 for us. This is Ian here along with Chris.
Ian, welcome back to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I am back from Boston, back from PAX East. I miss it already. As a lot of PAX folks would say, once a year is not enough. But, oh well. I loved it. I'm going to be talking about that a little later in the show. I had an awesome time. And I got to Boston at a point where it's not snowing. So, we're good. We're good. We're good. But, yeah, hey, good times. You know, we're also back after a break. Those of you who've been tuning in, you know, we haven't been doing this for a bit.
No, it's been about 3 weeks. We had to take 2 weekends off.
Right. Of course, that hasn't stopped everything that's been going on around here. I mean, if you've been keeping up, MK11 still in full swing. Chris is going nuts over that. Resident Evil wrapped up in the meantime. We got some of our playthroughs coming through. Mega Man 2. Movie reviews haven't stopped. And, of course, there's always a ton of news. We are backlogged with stuff to talk about this week. Not only PAX, the trailers didn't stop. The releases didn't stop. And, well, we can't stop, so we're going to keep going with that. But
we try to stop.
We try. It doesn't work out too well.
A little leprechaun comes and smacks me in the head with a 2x4. Tells me to get going again.
Is his name Jimmy?
I wish I never would have read those words out of that book, because now just all kinds of horrible black magic things happen all around me. I can't stop them anymore.
I told you about the voodoo, man. Listen.
Yeah, no, you did.
Shame. Well, as always, we've got a whole log of trailers to go through here before we jump in the rest of our discussion. So, let's take a look at that stuff. Right at the top of our list, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's 9th film.
Yes.
Got that right. This is going to be with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. I almost said Leonardo.
You almost did.
I almost did. Leonardo DiCaprio. Man, dude, I'm trying to see. The last thing I remember DiCaprio in was in Revenant.
Is that the last? I don't think that's the last thing.
It wasn't.
That's definitely one of them.
You're right. It wasn't the last movie he was in, but I know that's the last thing DiCaprio related I think I saw.
That you remember.
Yeah. So. But this is like a period piece. Looks fun.
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It does, and that actually might be late 60s.
Could be.
But no, it does look like a lot of fun, and you know, I've had my eye on this one for a while. We haven't been talking about it, but now that we've got a trailer out and I get to see what it's going to be, because, you know, if it's a Tarantino movie, I'm probably going to be really interested.
Sure.
It's not always the case, though. It's not always the case, but this looks pretty cool. Looking forward to it coming out in July. I think it said. Yeah.
Nice.
It's got Isaac written all over it.
It does. Especially the part, they even got some like little Bruce Lee cameos and stuff.
Yep.
God, that was good. That's fun. I don't think we didn't have. You know what? I don't have the schedule in front of me. We didn't already have this on the dock. Do we have people down for this already? For reviews? Or I didn't think so.
No.
Okay.
No. It was kind of on the fence.
Kind of out of nowhere. So cool. We'll see who wants to be done with it. But yeah. Funny enough, you know, I feel we at least get a couple of noticeable period pieces each year. I guess to my knowledge, this is the first one of 2019, for at least the late 60s, 70s era, is it? I
don't know, but it's not the only one we're going to be talking about here today. We got another one coming up here in a couple trailers.
This is true. So, no, it looks fun. I mean, Brad Pitt and DiCaprio together, that's awesome. Both very, very solid actors. So, yeah.
Now, what's the Brad Pitt last? What?
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna make sound effects now. What is the last Brad Pitt movie you saw? I can't even remember.
Dude, for me it's World War Z.
Really?
It's been that long.
That's it. Well, that is. I was gonna say it's a good one. That's a fun one. It's not a good one though. It might. No, I think Ocean's 13.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good times.
Couple guys. They're both getting up there.
Yeah, they are. There, you can see it. You can see it now. So, there are some that aren't aging though. Toys don't age. They don't have a problem with that.
Toys do age, sir. They do age.
No, okay, touche.
but not these toys.
Not these. Touche, I'll take that. That's the Toy Story 4 trailer for that. If you guys have been keeping an eye out for that, you might have seen this around. This seemed to get that shot in the arm closely after Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't think that has anything to do with each other. Does it? Wink, wink, nudge. No, maybe not. But yeah, here it is, the fourth entry in Toy Story. I couldn't help but smile seeing this trailer, man. You know what? I got some catching up to do because I haven't seen Toy Story 3. So I'm not too sure.
That's right, you haven't.
I haven't. I'm not too sure how that one got past my radar because I love the original. I think that was out when I was like in 4th or 5th grade or something like that. And then, I saw 2 when that came out, but I never caught 3. But mark my words.
Spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
The toys are alive when people aren't around.
You ruined it.
Yeah.
You can be that guy. Fine.
But apparently so are sporks.
True.
I want a spork toy now. What's his name? Sporky? Is that his name?
Sporky, yeah.
Is that his name? I want Sporky. I love the fact that they're actually even dealing. He's like, why am I alive?
Yeah.
Crap. I'm supposed to be for chili.
And like he just kind of like awakens to that. Like he tries to blend in with the toys, and he's like, no, I can't do this. I got to go like dip my head in food. Whatever. Bye.
And they're all well, they were all most of them were Andy's toys, but now they're what? That's his little sister, right?
Not his little sister. So if I remember right in the timeline, a lot of Andy's old toys had been sold off to this other family.
Here we are delving into the Toy Story canon,
right?
If you read the children's books, then no, was it a neighbor? Did they get sold to? I don't think they did.
No, I don't think that was his. I'm like 90% sure that's not his sister.
Okay, I guess we'll find out.
But yeah,
I don't know. But there's a spork.
Yeah, but no, it was just.
And Bo Peep is the superhero.
Exactly. I've always wanted to see something with a little bit more from Bo Peep. So it's like got my wish.
And you get a whole movie to watch.
I did. I'm pleased with this. This is going to be fun. I'm actually.
No, I mean 3. I mean obviously 4, but also 3.
Oh no, I'm stacked up. Yeah. I'm stacked up now for sure, man. I got this, and honestly, I'm more excited about this than I am Frozen 2. So
I don't even know what to say to that. I am legitimately more excited for a real sport than I am Frozen 2. So.
I say that because the Disney sentiment out there. I have no doubt.
I still want to know what the hell was going on in that trailer.
No, it was a weird trailer. I have no doubt that people are going to flock to see Frozen in droves. Like just the sheer popularity of that and what the Frozen name carries. You know what? It almost seems to me that the Frozen trailer banked on that name. Because that is such a nondescript trailer about not a whole lot of, yeah.
And I'm the guy who would go out in front of a huge line of people waiting to go see Frozen 2 and actually bring out like a made snowman to look like that snowman guy and take a torch to it right in front of him.
I could totally see you doing that.
I would do that.
I totally see that.
If I had that kind of time and money to spare, absolutely.
Breaking princess.
And then I'd light my cigarette off of him. And be like, flick it. Whatever.
Oh man,
I have a love-hate relationship with Disney.
No, dude, I hear you. So, I mean, they have one of our favorite properties. So, what are you gonna do?
No, they've got a lot of them now.
They do.
You get a whole bunch of them now.
One mouse to rule them all.
Yep.
This is the next one on this list is one that, of course, you brought my attention to. That still looks awesome. Godzilla,
yes.
King of the Monsters. Roar.
I love the fact that they use the Over the Rainbow music.
Right.
That's so great.
No, such a good pick. Such a killer pick for this. It's man. Were there now take me back here, some of the old school Godzilla films. Were there at any point did we ever get this kind of like battle royale going on.
Oh
with
yeah,
this many.
no, there's a couple occasions.
I just don't remember.
You had a bunch of guys with making slave labor in giant plastics in foam suits, beating the heck out of each other, and they called it a movie.
Well, luckily we got awesome CG in place of that today, but
Yep. I do hope that in the first Godzilla movie was fine, but there wasn't a lot of Godzilla. You know, they've tried this stuff before. Some of the Transformer movies, we'll throw in some actors, and you know, it'll be about them, but it's supposed to really be about Transformers, and then you barely see the Transformers.
exactly.
And the last Godzilla was okay, but we need lots of Godzilla now.
Yeah.
We need lots of monsters in Godzilla, and I hope that, you know, there isn't a bait and switch here and we get like 10 minutes of Godzilla.
You thought you were getting Godzilla. It's like, did we mention Mothra?
I would prefer if they can't put enough Godzilla on the screen, then put a guy in a suit.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Dude.
I'd rather watch that.
Dude, that's forever classic. How can that get old? But the little we do see, the little we do see looks awesome.
Looks nuts.
The Godzilla beam, and oh my god, dude.
Yep. Looking forward to it. That's my childhood idol right there.
Here's a question: Are you gonna find the suit? In
I
time
would
for the premiere?
again, time and money thing, but
Time
I
and
would
money.
love to go to the premiere in a Godzilla suit, and I would sit like right in the middle where I could be in like the most people's way, and I would so do it. Oh my god, I would so do it. If anybody wants to send me one, let me know. I'll do it. We'll record it. We'll record it. I'll absolutely do it if you send me a Godzilla suit. Just email to ksawmedia@gmail.com. I would absolutely do it.
Awesome.
You can put a 6'7" man in a Godzilla suit in the premiere for the Godzilla movie, and I will do it.
Ah, man, you could have given the Reptar I just saw at PAX a run for his money, easy.
I mean, if you know, depending on how nuts you want to go with this, you could put probably Jason in a different monster suit, and we'll both go to the premiere, and we'll even fight.
Can Jason be Mothra?
Well, no, because Godzilla doesn't really fight Mothra.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so you got to pick one of the other ones, like Gaiden or something like that. Gaidon,
Sure.
Gadian.
Right.
I don't, the three-headed thing. The three-headed thing. That, yeah.
Cool.
We'll do that. We'll fight.
You need to, last but not least, you need to have a little blue LED light somewhere near your teeth for like your beam. That'd be awesome. But, oh well, I digress.
Well, now you're going a little too far.
Yeah, I am. I'll leave it there. Joker. This is one people have been talking a lot about. Some of my buddies who don't even keep up with Marvel, they don't keep up with DC or any like the superhero movies. They want to see this. This is pulling it all the way back. It's a Joker origin story, straight up.
That in itself is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I mean, I wouldn't even say I've been on the fence. I've been kind of on the side of, not really. So I watched this trailer the first time. I watched it. Well, I've watched it multiple times. But the first time I watched it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. Then I watched it again, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm feeling this.
It worked the second time.
Yeah, it did the second time. I'm on board. You have to get past the premise of a Joker origin story, which I don't like.
Right.
I am a fan of the fact that the Joker has no canonical origin story. I mean, there's been origin stories, but nobody really knows where he came from, and I like that. I like that about the Joker.
That's part of the awesome mystery. It makes him
right.
You know.
Right. Now, I'm also of the, we're obviously big Marvel fans. We're comic book fans in general. We like DC as well. That being said, I'm on record stating that I think the Joker is, in fact, the best villain in fiction, period.
No, well said. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
And, so this looks like it has the potential to live up to that. But again, I just don't like that they're doing an origin story. That being said, okay, you're going to do an origin story. This is looking fine so far. So
Sure.
I'm on the other side of the fence. I was more in the middle, leaning towards, if I never see it, I don't care.
Right.
But this is looking good.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. It's funny. Funny you mentioned you had to watch this twice for it to set in. I went through the same thing. I just kind of felt that was a lot. I got to take that in one more time. And
And it really is a well put together trailer.
it is. No, it is. It is. Especially I think to tell any Joker story, you really have to go into his descent. And of course, I see this and I can't help but think of the late, Heath Ledger.
Really?
With that, a little bit. I
I
do.
suppose for some people they're just going to. I guess I don't know. Maybe because, excuse me, I'm a little bit older. My first Joker I actually remember from the TV show.
Oh, that Joker. Nice. Yeah.
So Heath Ledger, while I will say that at least right now is the best Joker that's been on screen, he doesn't just pop to mind for me all the time.
Sure. That makes sense. Makes absolute sense. So, but no, it's heading in the right direction. I know we're going to see plenty more on this one leading up to release, and yeah, we'll see this
October.
part out of October. You'll see it this fall. So, good deal. All right, and last but not least on our hero list, definitely not least, this is the atom bomb of hero movies we've had in the last few years. We had a little bit of a better look into Avengers Endgame coming out the end of this month. Special look and actually a featurette was featured along with this. Now, just want to emphasize ahead of this, the pre-sales have been unbelievable.
I'd call this guy up and make sure. I'm like, you go out and get your ticket, sir, because I'm looking at the news feed. I'm like, oh, it beat The Force Awakens in 6 hours for record sales.
That's insane.
I actually called you right after I read that. I'm like, I better call him.
No, absolutely wild, dude.
But we got our tickets. We got our tickets for the review.
We did. We're going to be in Thursday night checking this one out. I cannot wait. I'm actually looking over. I got my ticket sitting right here next to my keys. So look, all the pieces are in place. We have walked a long road to this point since we watched Tony Stark become Iron Man, everything else in between. This has been an amazing ride, and I think this is going to be a piece of film history. We're going to remember,
and there are just so many people that want it to end with Ant-Man going up Thanos' butt.
So many, right? That's the thing.
So many of them. That became a meme.
It did.
In the last couple of weeks we've been gone. I get it. It's worth a joke.
No, it is.
It's worth a laugh, but come on, let it go.
No, I would take away from this. I think the thing that stood out to me most about these was, a couple of big drops about this. First of all, you see Tony Stark reunited with Pepper Potts.
Actually, hold on.
Okay.
Because we only have one. I've only got one featurette linked here in the news. There are a few. The special look, however, I've actually seen a fair amount of complaints about it being a little spoilerish,
Really?
at least in comparison to the rest of the kind of footage that we've been getting. So if you're going to follow the links, be careful. We put the links in the description. Be careful. The special look one, yeah, I can see their argument. It's kind of bullshit, but I get it.
Sure.
I get it, and I wouldn't agree, but yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Now go.
No, you're good. Like, that was a big moment. We've had the whole joke dialogues between Robert Downey Jr. and NASA about, retrieving Stark from space and everything, and then we've got this moment where you see Pepper Potts with Tony Stark. I thought that was big. I also loved Thanos' line near the end about the Avengers not being able to bear the weight of their failures, and where did that bring you back to again? Me. And then there he is, he shows up. A couple of things about that I thought were interesting too. I know a couple of my friends have been questioning, how functional is the Infinity Gauntlet still? While my personal opinion, while I don't think he can do another snap, I hope not. I do think it still has power in it. I mean, this was I think, pretty evident in the fact that he got himself
use the Infinity Gauntlet to make a new Infinity Gauntlet.
right. There you go. Just been reality. But I mean, it was already shown after the snap. He gets himself out of dodge with one of the stones. Right there. So I do wonder by this point, wherever we're showed, how much time exactly has passed, what's the extent of it, and how much is he actually going to use? Because the way that Thanos has been built up here, look, he's a pretty bad dude, even without it. With it, he's an absolute nightmare. But yeah, even without it, he's pretty tough. So, man, so much to look forward to. This is one of those where I'm just like, you know what? You can hold all the spoiler pie. Yeah, I will eat my fair share at the end of this month. Don't worry about it. I'm willing to wait. So.
And as we mentioned, we will be doing a review, our typical non-spoiler and spoiler review and discussion for that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, come on over, check it out. This week, it's kind of hinted earlier. It's going to be a little earlier than normal. I know a lot of our releases are either on Friday or Saturday for reviews. We want to make it a point to get this one to you guys as early as possible. So please stop on by and tune in for that.
Sorry if I'm a little off here, Ian. I'm eating Hershey's chocolate eggs.
Dude, you got all the reason to be out. Can I have one? No, never mind.
You can't. No, you can't have one.
Fine. All right. Do you like that? I thought you were going to say Cadbury eggs for a second.
No, Hershey. I have some Hershey chocolate eggs.
Lucky.
Not the generic ones, the real ones.
Nice.
Yeah, they're good. They're too good.
All the reason. Keep munching, man. We also got a look. This is panning off of superheroes a bit, but we got a look at Terminator Dark Fate. The first official images are out for that. Now, we were talking about this a number of shows ago. Really cool stuff. We got the first pictures of Sarah Connor as well as the Terminator itself and the rest of the cast coming at us. I believe the main article we were pulling a lot of our info from was from Newsarama. We had some footage that got shown at.
No, that's just where I linked the
that's just your link. Okay, I got you. I feel you. We had some footage that was shown at CinemaCon this week, and we had Linda Hamilton's performance as Sarah Connor. Of course, rave reviews. I mean, we saw that coming a mile away.
You say that. I did not see that.
You did really?
No, not for Terminator number 10,004.
No, for Sarah Connor. But
this franchise has been shit canned.
No. It has. People went crazy.
I'm glad to hear it.
No, same here. I think the thing that was just predictable to be well received about this was, Linda Hamilton. Period. She's awesome.
She's good, but no, I don't put money on the leading actress for Cyborg, Death Robots, and Beauty and the Beast.
Sure. Dude, you forget that. You forget the movie. I ain't talking about selling the movie. I'm talking about the original Sarah Connor. Making any kind of appearance again is just hype in and of itself.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I would not have. I'm glad to hear that they're saying such good things about her performance. I would not have assumed as much.
Right. I got you.
But that doesn't mean that she can't.
Right. No, word up, man.
It's just the term. Did you see the last Terminator movie?
Yes, I did. I
bet you regret it.
I do. I actually do. You know what? Fortunately, I didn't go to movies to see it though.
Wow, you stole it.
Just
like I'm going to steal another Hershey's chocolate egg out of this bag.
How many of those do you have?
Enough for me to say that this week's show is brought to you by Hershey's. These eggs are not really, but these eggs are good. They should give me money.
They should. You just
or at least some eggs.
That should fall under like what? Google AdSense or something. You just did some revenue for them, I think.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep.
Oh man. Also, in the while we were gone, all right, Disney and Fox, the deal got finalized. Mm-hmm. There's a Fox exec saying that before I get into the whole Dark Phoenix thing, I wanted to mention that too, but I think I need to backtrack about this a bit. Just
resistance is futile.
Yes. It absolutely
has assimilated.
Yep.
Fox Entertainment.
Yep. we've been, we were talking about this, and I remember when we had the backtrack, when it didn't happen in the time frame we thought it would, and we're saying, well, wait, we'll give it a minute. Disney are pretty persistent about this stuff when it gets into bidding, and when they want some rights, yeah, I don't think the mouse is gonna take no. So this is just pretty ridiculous in terms of media.
I mean, we know all it. Nothing fancy happened here.
No.
It's done.
Right.
Yeah, we know about Disney acquired all the Fox Entertainment licenses and studios. It excludes the news and the sports and the affiliated channels and all that. But all your favorite things, Family Guy, Aliens, I think even Terminator. I think Terminator.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Avatar. It all belongs to the mouse now.
Can we safely say that they have their own Infinity Gauntlet now?
Pretty close. There's definitely nothing out there that can stand up against them. What, Sony gonna do something?
Look out.
Sony can't even come out with more than 2 Spider-Man movies at a time that are worth a shit.
Hey, there's Venom.
No, I said 2. They got a chance to come out with a whole nother decent one and then completely screw it up.
Oh, man. That they do. Well, I don't know. Might be turd in the wind, might not. We'll see.
Yeah.
Other than that,
the
though...
first one was already a turd in the wind.
The first one...
But I'll give it a pass because so many people liked it, and I think it made $1 billion.
No, it did well. It did really well. So can't knock that. Can't take away from that. Other than that, though, when you talk about Fox, I can't help but think of the other film you got hovering around. Of course, X-Men. Is we've started to see trailers for it. Heck, you guys probably did. Those of you who went out there to see Shazam or whatever else recently, you're probably starting to see the Dark Phoenix stuff surface all around. Again, I see these trailers and I keep thinking, man, we've been here before. We
were here about 15 or so years ago.
Yeah, we were.
Literally the same story.
So, but it was confirmed. Was also confirmed by a Fox exec that Dark Phoenix is okay. Finally, let's post this on all the doors. Will be the last Fox X-Men movie. And dadgummit, I would have liked to have seen the punctuation point in this for Logan and just leave it alone, but. This came from Emma Watts. She was saying this again. This was also at CinemaCon, and she was saying this will be, and I quote, the perfect send-off of our epic X-Men series before showing footage at the event of the film. That just sounds kind of, I don't know, man.
She's doing what she's supposed to do, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm laughing at that statement.
Oh man. So now there's still some stuff in the air about all this, and I think you rightly mentioned what about stuff like New Mutants?
Yeah, well, not just stuff like, what about the New Mutants?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, okay, so Dark Phoenix is your last one, except this movie over here, the New Mutants.
Huge gray area. The weird part about that is that Disney still got that listed. They still had it listed as with their presentation stuff for CinemaCon.
At the same convention.
Same thing. So, you already put one option on the table for this. I mean, this might be streaming. I mean, maybe that's one route this might come out. That's awkward. It's really awkward.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on record stating that we're never even going to see this movie.
No.
But I suppose they're like, throw it up on the streaming station.
Why not?
I could see that.
Could happen.
Put the interns on the special effects and put it out by Christmas.
I don't think any of us, again, none of us are on deck for reviewing Dark Phoenix here, are we?
Jeez. If it's the last one, I'll do it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Oh man.
Oh wait, no, I won't. It has nothing really to do with the actors. It has to do with the fact that the X-Men have just been. I mean, come on. It's what Fox has done with that whole freaking IP.
Right.
It just needs to be done. It needs to die, and now it's finally in Disney's hands. It's in Kevin Feige's hands. I can't wait to see. You know what? I can wait to see, because take your time. Take your time. Set it all up, all nice and pretty. Put a little bow on that thing, and I'm looking forward to what the MCU does with X-Men.
Same.
That's a reality now.
It is. It is.
No Infinity Gauntlet needed for the reality gem. That's a thing. That's gonna happen. You're gonna see it.
Love it. Love it.
You know what? I was thinking about this. Go a little bit further. You know how I want them to introduce the X-Men?
Huh.
I want them, the first introduction, I want to see Hulk versus Wolverine.
Oh man, that's pulling back to a classic from the comics.
That's his first appearance, and I want to see just set it up out of nowhere. Wolverine just like, what's up? And they start fighting. No, I mean, obviously they'll do it in a good way. That's how I'd like to see it. Just a little taste, just a nugget.
Right.
Just a nugget. Just put them out there. Just put Wolverine out there. Hulk and Wolverine. I'm just saying. Okay.
Cool. Well, and as however you do that, what a debut for Logan. I mean, it could end up with one of those things where half of him is on the ground, but his legs end up on a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
That must be a crazy. I can only imagine how crazy that fight would look.
Oh, that'd be nuts.
Yeah, if they actually go with a short actor for Wolverine.
Right.
Because typically, if you don't know, Wolverine is typically very short. I think he's 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
But obviously with Hugh Jackman, who's I think like 6'4".
Right.
There's been a huge difference. So, I mean if you're not careful, that could almost look comical.
Yeah.
But I think with just how badass Wolverine's going to be, it would be really interesting to see.
For sure. All right, sweet, dude. Depending on the horror trail, though, this is a little something we've been following. It is official that Mark Hamill is going to be voicing Chucky.
Yeah.
Woo! We had a report this week. Again, this is for the Child's Play reboot. Not to be confused with the upcoming TV show that we have for it. That doesn't have anything to do with the film.
Right. This is the movie reboot.
Oh.
Although Mark Hamill, and I obviously love Mark Hamill, he would probably do the voice for both if offered.
Yeah.
Because he's not all that picky.
No.
He's not all that.
No, I mean...
especially for such a good voice talent, too.
Oh, dude, for sure. For goodness sake, Joker. Need you say more? Like, he's perfect for this. He's perfect. I think
he really is. And when they announced it, I think on Monday this week, I was really surprised because, truth be told, I didn't give it a lot of thought. But once this came up, it's like, the voice for Chucky is pretty damn iconic.
It is.
And you could screw that up real easy. But Mark Hamill, he can definitely pull this off. Not only can he pull this off, he actually did for a Robot Chicken episode years ago.
Really?
Where he voiced Chucky. Kind of funny because Mark Hamill even says himself he forgot that he'd even done it. He's not very picky on the work. So he does a lot of stuff. It sounded fine. And I think this is one people can get behind this. It's fine. And I'm not a huge Child's Play fan. He's a good enough iconic horror guy. He's not quite up there at the level of some of the others, but you got to get that voice right. And I think they definitely can with Mark Hamill.
Yeah, no, and they will too. So cool. Great match. That's, I think, is exactly what you need to push an iconic role like that. And yeah, that should be great, man. So other than that, speaking of iconic stuff, here's something that's been on the burner for years, on and on. I had a
I
nickel.
remember reading about this in the early 2000s.
Same. If I had a nickel for every time I heard about this. It looks kind of cluing some of you guys in out there. What are we talking about? That's the Akira, the live action. Look, okay, apparently, I put this in quotes. This is a thing. This is on the way. There's an announcement of an $18+ million tax credit given to Leonardo DiCaprio's production company, Appian Way. The Akira live action film was in the news again. And bear in mind, now wait, okay, before I go on.
I wrote that poorly. They're getting this credit for production of this movie.
For production. How long has this been in DiCaprio's back pocket? Because I remember
He's had it for a while.
I remember some of the early news about this had his name next to it. So
last thing I heard, and this was a long time ago, outside of the occasional in an interview, are you still going to do it? And he says yes. Was that the plan was to do a 2-part live action based on the manga.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which I would prefer, quite honestly. Not that the cartoon didn't do its best to try to cram 5 years of comics in about 2.5 hours.
Sure.
But you actually can't. You probably should do that. The middle of the movie really does drag. It's beautiful. It's a piece of art.
Yeah.
But the middle of it's very what happened? Oh, never mind. We're back to these kids fighting each other. Okay.
Right. No, man, that's some big time ground when you start talking about Akira and things like that really not just change the landscape for, I think, anime in general, but for, animation.
Oh yeah, no, this is this is fairly and I think appropriately known as the Star Wars of animation, not just animation. Well, sure. Maybe not animation, definitely anime.
Oh yeah.
Definitely anime. This is huge. And that tax credit, by the way, it's either from Los Angeles or California, and it is for shooting in that area.
There you go. So
I can't wait.
Oh,
I've been waiting. I don't want to wait anymore. Let's stop with me waiting.
You stop with
and let's do this.
It's been shown that these adaptations can work. Look, you need to look no further than the recent stuff we have from James Cameron. Alita was excellent. And I think if you keep in a faithful vein like that, you can have something awesome here. Now, unlike Alita, Akira's been stuck in production hell, forever.
Yeah, but James Cameron's had the rights to Alita for a long time too, hasn't he?
He's had the rights for it, but he never had a start and stop with it. It didn't go through as many pitfalls. It was more kind of like, I think, him trying to time if and when he wanted to do another Avatar, to have that out beforehand. It was just a timing thing. Once he lined up and said, all right, this is a thing, we're doing it, we're filming it, it went off without a hitch. He stuck to that time frame. So yeah. But,
this is going to be this could either be one of my favorite things in the world, or I could end up hating this. I would just like to know at this point.
Yeah.
Do I love this movie or will I hate this? I doubt it'll be in between. Of course, I don't really know enough about Leonardo DiCaprio to know. I've heard, and again, this is years ago, I've heard and I've read that he wants to stay very true to the source material, and very happy to hear that he's going to base it off the manga and not the animation.
Same.
I like that, going right back to the source, and he wants to be very faithful to it. I would be very interested in see that. I would. Oh, and the last part of this here, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok, right?
I mean, I just think of Ragnarok, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's perfect.
Yep. No, dude. I for some reason, I hear that name, and I think of Thor Ragnarok, and I instantly think of him wearing one of the pill jackets.
Let's do it. I want it. No, tomorrow. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think this has the makings to be awesome, and I hope it is, because I would love to be in a world where I could literally hold those two films and say the adaptation to Akira was amazing and the adaptation of Alita was amazing. I want to say that.
Yeah.
So
let's get a couple more on the board, a couple more W's.
And I think if you do, that's something that could really sway perception. I think anime adaptation doesn't quite suffer as much as gaming. adaptation does.
No, but it's close.
It's close. It does have some of the stigma following it, but if you could get two truly big heavy hitters out behind it, that'd be some great wind beneath the sail. So I like it. 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 Other than that, we've got a one more thing on the superhero kick. We've got a Black Widow movie to have possibly Taskmaster and Deathlok. There have been a couple of reports lately that the likely villain in the upcoming, this is going to be early Phase 4 for MCU, the early Black Widow film, is going to be one of them can appear. Last week we had reports that Deathlok might show up too. So Taskmaster.
Love the idea of Taskmaster.
Oh, you gotta. We haven't seen him yet in the MCU, but Deathlok though, he's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This goes into your territory, man. I think he's been lurking there for a while, right?
Yeah, he Deathlok appeared in season 1 and has reappeared off and on throughout the series. I think seasons 3 and 4 he wasn't in there, but I mean the major story arc for the first season centered around him in large part. It was a really interesting transformation from an average guy who ended up basically turning into Deathlok. It was kind of funny because it was like right at that moment, you're like, gosh, that looks a lot like Deathlok. And like, it's Deathlok. You're like, I know. I was just gonna say it. That being said, Deathlok there's been a couple Deathloks. How big of a fan are you of Deathlok?
Dude, I've read a couple of the comics.
Okay.
I not a huge one.
But you know who he is.
Oh yeah.
And he's been around, I think, since the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very interesting character. He can be really compelling if done right. He's sometimes a hero. He's sometimes a villain. More often than not, he's a hero, though. But they've had him in this world. And if they are actually going to use Deathlok, I think it's the opportunity for the first time, besides Coulson, who started in the movies and then moved to TV, and has now moved back to the movies. Right. This would be the first time they pull somebody from the TV shows and put them in a movie, or it's the first time they're going to ignore the TV shows and just make one for the movie. So you're going to get a first time here for something if he's actually in there.
And that's exciting. We've always talked about that cross continuity we've wanted to see between TV series, between film. We've had so many teases from Netflix to everything else. Of course, it looks like that's all coming full circle. I mean, for goodness sake, the stuff we're going to have in Disney streaming is going to be direct MCU. I mean, you can't get much more direct than that. Like, we see appearing in the film.
Well, but that's more movie to TV.
It is. We haven't seen the reverse strain.
And I wonder if it's kind of a slap in the face to Netflix.
I wonder.
We'll take this guy. We'll put him in the movies. Not you guys with your things. I probably not, because the producer behind the Netflix shows is also the same guy that's behind the ABC shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that. It's all one guy. I mean, there's obviously different contracts for different outlets, but it's the same guy. I don't know. It would be cool though. The actor, I forget his name. He's a decent enough actor. He played Deathlok well enough. Was a little young for the role, but it would be fine.
Cool.
I want to see Taskmaster though.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's perfect for Black Widow.
Now, my most recent run-in with Taskmaster, actually, yours too, I guess, when we were playing Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, he looks pretty much the same. He's, from what I've seen, he has not had a lot of different variation.
Right.
There's something weird now in the comics where his helmet got like stuck onto his face, so he actually looks like a skull face now, or some weird shit like that. Yeah, that's weird. But he basically looks the same. His ability is that he can analyze people's fighting skills and master them, hence Taskmaster.
Right.
And he's had some really good fights with Spider-Man, which is always interesting, because as far as my understanding is, Taskmaster's a normal guy. He's not, he's kind of like Hawkeye, where he's Hawkeye is not a superhero, but he's really, really good at something.
Yep.
It's kind of like the same thing.
You almost have that like Batman level of skill sets, like ridiculous athleticism, gadgets, stuff like that. But But I mean, that ability's pretty sick. I know it was really fun on the, just thinking about that from the PS4 version. I think the only thing that was effective was when you did the dodge web counters when like you webbed his face.
Or your suit abilities.
Suit abilities work too, to a degree. Yeah, yeah. And then the knockback too, the like jump in the air and slam down.
Yeah,
That, I used to love that one. That can give you room. Ah, I'm gonna go in Spider-Man PS4 hype again if I don't shut up about that. I love that game so much. So good.
pretty good.
So good. So,
But yeah, Black Widow. That'd be cool to see them both. I'm really interested to see what they're going to give us with Black Widow. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity here to do a lot of things. It's supposed to be early phase 4. It really is a good opportunity to really give a good story for her, while at the same time kind of rearrange the shelf, so to speak, after everything that's going to happen. Because, I mean, whatever's going to happen at the end of Endgame, a lot of stuff will have happened.
Oh yeah.
So there's gonna have to be some reshuffling of the deck.
oh yeah.
So the good film to be able to do it.
Oh, for sure. So, lots of good stuff on deck. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Last but not least, this comes from Netflix. We're just talking about streaming stuff here. This was one a little under the radar. Now, Netflix is no stranger to doing its own version of like anime adaptations, or at least showing those from various studios. I think some of the ones that we've seen include FMA, Full Metal Alchemist. We had Bleach pop up, and then we also had Death Note. The next big series that's coming looks like it's Cowboy Bebop. We had the casting got announced for this new series coming out. Now, out of all those I just mentioned, to be honest, Bebop is one of those that makes the most sense, like, to adapt. It's one of those that's just not as out there that I think you have to build up as much, or to build up and push. Chris, look, Cowboy Bebop has been in syndication so long here in the U.S. I mean, have you ever seen this just late night, just cruising channels or something?
Yeah, I've seen several episodes of it.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure. Like, if it's to the point now with Cowboy Bebop, like, if you're minutely involved in nerd culture, you've probably seen an episode of Bebop at some point. And the thing I always liked about the series was if you knew very basic things about basically space bounty hunters, far-flung future, old tech, it's like all you need to know. You can watch an episode. So it's always been really accessible. I think there's a lot less world building you have to do up front to actually do this. But let's just jump in a second and just look who actually got casted. You got John Cho, who's being casted for Spike Spiegel. Stuff he was from. He worked on Star Trek, also Searching. You've got Mustafa Shakir. He was in Luke Cage. You might remember he was Bushmaster.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's scheduled up. You got Daniela Pineda. She did Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, also What If. And finally, you got Alex Hassel from The Miniaturist and Suburbicon. These are the 4 leads that we're going to center around for basically this story, these bounty hunters on this ship, and then trying to not just make a living and get by, but hopefully get their own backstories. What I loved about how Bebop panned out was, it delivers you this really simple, space hunter story up front, but the more you get into it, you get these slices, these vignettes of everybody's life. I mean, it mainly comes back to Spike, and most of it's centered around him, but the whole cast carried Bebop, and it turns out to be a really, really interesting show. It's just well done and fun. So this is one I think that could, I'm definitely gonna check this out. I think this could turn out well for Netflix if done well. Now, bear in mind, this is co-produced by Netflix and also Tomorrow Studios. I wasn't too familiar with other stuff they'd handled in the past, but no, it's definitely shaping up. Especially, I love the idea of Mustafa Shakir playing Jet, because Jet was always sort of the grandfather of the crew. Like everybody else was off doing something, he'd kind of marshal everybody back to order, or trying to watch everybody's back, basically, the mechanic of the ship. So I think he's going to do really well in that, just from little what we saw in Luke Cage. But looks cool. I'm going to watch it. So.
He's going to watch it.
If only, my only question, I wonder if they're going to have that iconic theme. I hope. or maybe a slight little wink at that, because that's
Yeah, that was a big deal, wasn't it?
oh yeah, still is.
I'm sure they'll have some kind of variation of it.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. I'll be quiet. Stop there.
Yeah.
All right. There
You have much bigger nerdy things to get to.
We do. And I got to get around to that. We're rounding that bin to gaming and the gaming zone people first. But hey, as I mentioned at the start of the show, I recently got back from Boston. I'm back from PAX East, a gaming event. Boston, you chatterhead. Gaming event of gaming events. I loved it. As I always do each year, it just seems to get a little better each year. It's like they did that again this time.
And if you go to our Instagram, we have that, which you should follow.
It's a thing.
Yep. You get to see pictures of Ian. There's actual pictures of Ian wearing our K-Sol Media t-shirt.
We got shirts. You believe it? Yeah.
Yep. So go check that out, but also check it out because he took pictures from the event.
Yeah, there's pictures everywhere. I tried to just do a good general capture for each day I was there. You know, everything from a little bit of cosplay. There's some stuff from the concerts. By the way, the Bit Brigade event was awesome. They killed it. Also, there's some stuff on the side from like in Jam Space from groups like Super Soul Brothers, who are also awesome and everything too. So I love that. But yeah, just getting around Boston, getting around the con. I mean, good eats, good times, good friends. Boston. Now, okay, there was one thing I didn't know was going to be there that I missed, and one thing that I knew was going to be there that I made sure to hit. So 50-50, I guess it balances out. But let me start with the thing I hit. Before this, I was talking a lot about Samurai Showdown. They were going to have exclusive gameplay there at PAX East. For those interested, that's going to be coming out a little later this year. We're also going to see it at EVO. I had a chance to just get hands-on, sit down, do some gameplay. I did some verses with one of my good friends from back home. That was a blast. The style of it, it plays like the 2.5D style we're seeing a lot these days with the detailed, 3D backgrounds, like the heavily shaded characters and 3D build-up, but it plays 2D, like the Street Fighter playing, like you play Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. Just like in the past, where disarmament was a thing. You could unequip your opponents, depending on how much damage you dealt or where you dealt damage. Fatigue and like battle damage is definitely a thing. Like you land some huge telling hits, your opponent's gonna feel it. They move slower, they're gonna be dragging a bit. There's some other cool little system mechanics and stuff that can stack up. So I'm really looking forward to see how people put that to use at the Evo Gauntlet that we're going to see laid out for it. When I was playing, I ran Haomaru, and oh golly, I was trying to see. We kind of made our way around the table because there was a pretty big line for it, so we only got a couple of games in. But the gameplay itself is smooth. It's fun. In fact, it brought me back in that same mindset of the original Battle Arena Toshinden. I used to rent that out of Blockbuster Video. So that was really, really cool. But I'd really been looking forward to playing this game. Again, I knew PAX was going to have it. Didn't let me down at all. I'm really glad to see SNK still in the groove with other stuff other than King of Fighters. So, Chris, did you ever play King of Fighters or much Toshinden?
I played a hell of a lot of Toshinden.
Nice.
1, 2, and 3. Not King of Fighters though. Gotcha.
Well, what kept you away from KOF? Just not the right system, or just
probably better games?
Yeah. Oh, sick burn. Well, you didn't play KOF. How can you say better games?
Because I'm an asshole. I'm just spitting garbage out of my mouth.
Oh man. But yeah, we'll see where Sam's show goes. Again, most of my gameplay was with Haomaru. My buddy played Nakaruru, a few others, but I didn't even make my way around the whole roster. On to what I missed though. I'm still a little bummed about this. Chris told me about it. Apparently, Streets of Rage 4.
We were just talking. I'm like, you're like, yeah, I was hitting up this and this. I'm like, dude, did you hit Streets of Rage?
I'm like, Streets of what?
Right at that moment, I'm like, yeah, it says here that they were going to be... I felt so bad about that, though, because I could tell. You probably had that like whole anime face where they're really upset and they got the little stupid tear that comes down their face. And it's like that was Ian right then and there.
It was a
I even
sad
heard
moment.
a little boink or whatever noise that would happen when he changes his expression. And
It was a sad moment, man. Yes, I missed Streets of Rage 4. I would have loved to have played a playable demo about that. That is like in my short list, like top 3 for games I want to play this year that I absolutely cannot wait to play.
this guy is like 10 times more respectable and elegant than I am. But comes down to he's like, I want to get out on the streets and beat up on guys and chicks. Is the button masher to end all button mashers.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's all about it.
Oh, man. Hey, all I gotta say is you go play Streets of Rage on Mania, dude, you try and mash your way through that. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
Don't tell me that. I'm going to be playing this with you. I'm just going to take my head and smash it into the keyboard the whole time.
If you do that, and if they're sticking with the way they always did with partner damage, if you do that and kill me, dude, we're going to have problems.
Is there friendly fire? This
Yes,
just got like 10 times more interesting.
There's always been friendly fire.
All right.
Why did I tell you that?
Yeah, that's true, because if it is actually in there, the discovery of it in game would have been epic. You should have not have said anything.
Should have just kept it secret.
I'm with the bad guys now.
You know you would have done that. It's okay. I just crack you over the head with the pipe and leave it at
Yep.
that. So
That's how people solve most of their problems with me in real life.
See. Sometimes it's a lead pipe, sometimes it's steel. No, but yeah, the gaming sections were awesome. They're out in force. Besides the mainline, devs like SNK and stuff like that, the indie booths were really fun. There's a lot of stuff to play there.
Let me just say real quick. This is what you get for disappearing when you go on these trips, because you do. Like the rest of the world dies when you go on these things.
It's true.
And yeah, had I been allowed at least a lower level of my typical shitfuckery, I probably would have said something to you. It's like, hey, this is there. Did you go see that yet? But no.
Hey, to be fair, we were texting during, and we.
I know. I'm just playing.
To be fair.
To be fair, you can go with my fun story.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I'm leaving it at that. No, man. No, but yeah, the rest of the gaming sections were awesome. I think Beats and Shapes was still there again. The full version of that is released. If you don't know what that is, if you haven't checked it out, go look it up. It's awesome.
Beats and Shapes?
It's one of the most fun games you can play multiplayer. I kid you not. It's
right now.
It's sweet. But I saw some of that. But yeah, made my way through the expo hall. Some of the bigger events at the PAX Arena that they had set up. They had 2 big tournaments going on over the weekend. One was for Tekken 7. I love that. The bigger tournament, though, that got the most attention was the Smash Brothers Ultimate tournament, and the turnout for that was unbelievable. They had the first, I think, 3 rows sectioned off for like family members and people who come. I mean, it's basically a worldwide event at this point. Of course, they had the live stream and stuff going, but the turnout was so crazy for it. They filled up all the seating at the arena. All the seating, like standing room only on the side, both sides, that was filled. Behind the stages, that was filled. And people in both the sky walkways on both ends of the expo hall, it's like on a massive monitor, you can see it from a ways away. People were lining all the way down the connecting halls, like just sitting on the side watching. It was an insane view. Now I don't do a lot of Smash Brothers always. I don't even own a Switch or anything like that to even have a way to practice Smash, but I couldn't help but be like, wow, there's a reason why this is the number 2, at least I think as of last year, the number 2 watched game at EVO. It might just get to that number 1 spot at this rate. I mean, the popularity of Smash Ultimate has really brought the people, of course, everybody who was involved in Melee and Brawl, but yeah, even though skeptical, I think you never got into Smash early on, it just brought them on board too. So yeah, it's just all set up for a crazy Evo, man. I was noting this too. You know, the cosplayers didn't come out in force until maybe they were Sunday. I didn't spend much time there Sunday, but it was mostly Saturday. Mostly Saturday. And then I think mid Friday.
You did make sure to get a Tifa cosplayer on our Instagram.
Of course. Of course.
Made me
Tifa
happy.
Tifa and Reptar, I think were
Yeah, I know something else.
yeah, the probably the
Dinosaur.
highlights. Yeah, like dinosaurs, yeah. But there are some fun ones. Did you check out? I would have thought you would have liked this one, Chris. Did you see that the one of the Days Gone display?
I did.
Yeah, that was
With the bear.
that was fun. That was fun. You know, sometimes photo ops just happen. Like literally, I was walking by and I noticed this guy had like jumped on a bike and he's like escaping from a bear. I'm like, thank you. You just gave me a really nice photo. All right, moving on. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, everybody from Oculus to Sony was there. You know, the Expo Hall just blew me away as always. I did not do any PC free play this time. I did a lot of console free play. I'm glad I had time for that.
Did you try MK11 on Switch?
It was jam packed. I didn't get in. No.
I no doubt it was jam packed. Ironically, the same weekend I'm playing the beta.
Right. I was busy watching your stuff more. Yeah, I did pass by that. It's one of my pictures over. I threw over on Instagram. MK11 had a really cool booth, and they were had playable versions of it on the Switch. People could run by and demo it. It was getting some good traffic. So
It'd be interesting to see how well that game really is on the Switch.
it will.
I mean, Switch, whatever, Switch is a Switch, but it's actually pretty far behind the current consoles.
Right. In terms of just raw power and
raw graphical power.
for sure, man.
That's what I mean.
No. Yeah, good point. Most of the time, I mean, you have a pretty streamlined release. I mean, Xbox and PlayStation, duh. But I don't know. I'd hope the Switch version wouldn't be too much of a step back. I actually haven't heard much from people who'd actually done that, so who knows, man.
I would assume that there's going to be some, at least to those who know where and how to look, that there's going to be some significant lower poly counts for the Switch.
Right. Rightfully so. By the way, there's a little Easter egg. Speaking of the photos I ran through, there's an Easter egg for you, specifically. In the left part of the shot, I made sure to get this in. Do you remember, or do you see, rather, the picture I took of, as at the Square Enix booth, of all the banners that are hanging down?
Oh my gosh, no, why, what?
On the far left part of that frame, I believe, if I remember right, there's a Left Alive banner.
Left Alive.
Just kind of there. I couldn't help but chuckle. I'm like, this actually has a banner? Wow.
Oh yeah, no, dude. They're going to try to push it out. So
No, I get it. I thought that was kind of fun. But yeah, dude. I mean, everything from some of what I listed to the free play they had at Jam Space. The Jam Space was actually streamed this year, which is really cool. I need to actually go back and dig through it. Anybody, if you guys are familiar with what Jam Space is, so they have one at, I think, each PAX, and PAX South does as well. Basically, people come in and just sit down on just different instruments and do covers. Sometimes it's like gaming related, sometimes it's something else, or you just sit in on a set. But if you have any musical ability whatsoever, if you just like music, if you play an instrument, go to Jam Space and check it out. If you ever go to a PAX, it's a blast. I waited and I got to kick around in drum kit. Actually, a couple of people I ran into last year were there, which was really awesome. As far as for who was volunteering for free play, drummers were in the biggest stock, funnily enough, but I still had a really, really good time with that. I set in for last year. I set in with the group and I played. We did Green Hill Zone, Sonic 1. That was awesome. This year, I just set in for a short jam. It wasn't much, gaming related and stuff, but I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with it. So, and as far as music wise, I already mentioned, the Bit Brigade and some of the others that came through, Super Soul Brothers. To wrap up Saturday, we had the VGO, Video Games Orchestra, was there. Their set was kind of all over the place this time. Last year, they were way more focused on FF15. The whole set was devoted to that. They had a whole choir with them. The huge, the epic sounds of, all the different 15 boss encounters and all that stuff. This year, okay, so This threw people off so bad. They led with the crystal theme to Final Fantasy, and then they did Sonic the Hedgehog like Unleashed, or like it's Sonic like people don't like. That's the thing, and I just kind of struggle because it's like, man, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, like there's so much stuff out there I think you could pick up, but it's like the modern stuff, it's like, no, why? But anyway, they did after the Sonic themes, they had some Devil May Cry. I think the best thing out of that whole set was Chrono Trigger. Having a live version of the Chrono Trigger opening was pretty sick. I think that was my first time ever hearing a live version of that too. So yeah, for the most part, yeah, musically on point. It's a lot of fun this year. You know, great spots for gaming if that was your thing to do, whether you're a tabletop player or you're just straight up, digital games and stuff. The exclusives really Samurai Showdown. I know some of the panels had to cancel out. Like Square didn't have their usual FF panel because they just got done with FF FanFest. But there were some cool ones. Like they had the audio sound design panel again. I went to that this year. That was great once again. Some of the others I stopped by though. Some of those kind of got, I think, tangential, kind of off track. There was one about the video games of yesteryear, and how they influence like the games of like today and stuff like that. And it more turned into a discussion about like why Bungie Halo, like why like Halo 2 and Halo 3 were good games, something like that. I don't know. I think there could have been more to that. So for myself, less of a panel presence. I think more of a general convention presence, and I can't wait to do it again next year. So, and hopefully you come to one of these someday.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. So, some for everybody.
In my Godzilla suit.
And your Godzilla suit, you'd fit in. You'd fit right in.
Put a little Pikachu hat on top of my Godzilla.
There you go. So, well, right in the vein of games, I got to talk about something awesome that's about to come out that's going to sell like hotcakes. If you guys haven't heard, Sega Genesis is getting in on the mini console market here after the Sony bombed out with the PlayStation release.
Well, can I make an amendment to that?
Sure.
This is actually not the first the first Sega Mini.
It's not. You're right.
There have been others. This is the first, I think, that AtGames is not making, and they've made some real shit ones. And I think Sega is actually really getting behind this one.
Yeah.
And it's saying that this is the first authentic publisher, like the Nintendo ones and like the stupid crappy PlayStation one. Which, since we're on the topic, I'm going to see how much I can get that for online now. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sure. No, I think that's apt to mention here. But yeah, hey, here it is. What we do know what's going to be happening with this, there's going to be 40 games at launch. We still only know 10. I've only been able to find those. And I do want to note the U.S. release for games is a little different from the Japanese release right now. So right now for the U.S. release, what we have confirmed, we've got Sonic 1, very first, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Toe Jam and Earl, Comic Zone, Altered Beast, yes, and also Gunstar Heroes. I think
I don't know most of those.
Really.
Yeah, well, don't forget, I never had a Sega.
It's true. You weren't a Sega kid. That's
None
right.
of us were. My brother, he got a Dreamcast, and obviously we never got another system after that.
Yeah,
because there wasn't a system after that. So, but he got it for Code Veronica. So
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, we didn't have. We were Nintendo kids.
Gotcha.
We were Atari and Nintendo kids, and Sega was dirty little second-rate garbage.
Oh man!
But I'm interested in this. By the way, if you wanted to, you could go down to Best Buy right now and get a brand new PlayStation Mini for $40.
$40
Came out 4 months ago.
Yeah, that is tanked so hard.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let's talk about this one. Because this has got some features on it that other ones have not.
It does. One quick thing before it features the Japanese list, and it's also a little bit in the shorter end. Some of these I haven't heard of. In keeping consistent, Castlevania and Comic Zone, that's the same. Now here's where things go weird though. Actually, Gunstar Heroes, that's the same as well. And that was a great game. Mato Monogatari Ichi, did not touch that, but I've not played it, but I know what that is. I've seen that around. It's got actually a really cool soundtrack to it. Puyo Puyo 2, No idea. Rent a Hero? No idea again. Shining Force, that I do know. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, that's a really good pick. Sonic 2 was awesome. And Space Harrier 2. So,
Okay, so help this Sega novice out. Why isn't the first Sonic on this? Was that on a prior system?
well, here's the debate. You mean why isn't in the Japan's list?
No, either one.
No, it is in our list for the U.S. release.
Is it? I thought that was Sonic 2.
No, Sonic 2 is in the Japan release only.
Oh,
We're getting Sonic 1.
okay, that's even dumber.
Yeah, yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. They got 40 games.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I have no doubt that the Sega Genesis library was huge.
It was.
But, I mean, come on. Nintendo can fit Super Mario 1, 2, and 3 on there.
Oh, easy. It's kind of weird how Sega's, being about this. They're saying that the rest of the games are going to be announced, of course, like in little spurts, intermittently leading up to the console release itself. So, let's, like I said, the features. Let's look at this thing a bit. Now, this is way smaller than the original, Genesis, about like half the size of the thing. You're going to get 2 controllers with this, and it's going to be USB micro powered, and also this is so cool, the HDMI cable. I love being able to go with the old school 16-bit stuff, but having it in an optimal setting for the HDMI hookup. That's great because that's like the baseline of what most things these days actually have. So cost-wise, what we're looking at. What?
You missed like one of the most important features.
What?
You can play your cartridges in it.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm not quite done with features. I promise I'll.
I'm sorry,
but no,
I'm an asshole.
But that's
Never
a good
mind,
one.
I'm out of here.
But no, hey, cat's out the bag about it. This is the way to do it. If you're gonna release something old school and awesome like this, I mean, hey, I don't know about any of you out there. I still have my cartridges and they still work for both my Super Nintendo and my Sega. So there's some stuff.
Sega.
Welcome to the next level. I'm gonna be that guy.
It reminded me.
Sega!
I say it. Look, Sega!
Ah, dude, I remember. You know what? What's the first? Two of the first things I'm gonna do with that. One, Streets of Rage 2. Second, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I still got the cartridge link, man. I'll never forget that. So wait, I don't know if SNES ever had anything like this. Like, so here was the setup for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, you had Sonic and Knuckles, and then you could literally put a cartridge on top of that, and it would become a different game.
No, I don't think they ever did. At least not here in the U.S.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Wait. Well, they kind of did. They came out with like the Game Boy Color thing, where you could put your Game Boy game into a cartridge, and then you could play it on your Super Nintendo, and it would give it some colors. But that's not really the same thing, though, is it?
Right. No,
it was kind of like a combiner.
Sorta. But no, man. That blew my mind when I was a kid. Like,
so what did that do when you put them together like that?
Well, you got a different game. So okay, for example, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was its own thing, and Sonic and Knuckles was its own thing. You had different title screens. They played different and everything. But if you link those two together, they actually made one game. So the whole title screen would change. It would say like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The character select would change. You could select like Knuckles from the start instead. And the way the game played out took like different little story arcs depending which characters you played as and if you got all 7 Chaos Emeralds or not. Also, the bosses were different, completely different.
That is crazy.
It was nuts. And for Sonic fans of the time, that was such a big deal because it's like, oh my god. So I think ever since, mid-90s, like, I think that was about 95 or so, if I remember right, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was sort of the premier launch for Sonic fans. I don't think there was anything cooler until maybe the Game Boy Advance series started to come out, and even recently Sonic Mania. Those are probably two of the best examples I can think of that can even compare to how good like those were. And it was that was a heyday for it. Also, it wasn't just Sonic 3. That was the main thing people played it for and why they bought Sonic and Knuckles. But you could go back to some of the old games. If you linked Sonic 2 on top of Sonic and Knuckles, you could actually choose Knuckles in Sonic 2 and have a completely different playthrough with that. So that was a huge deal. People went crazy over that. So I remember it became this thing, and everybody be looking around like, oh man, like what other games does this change? And we were trying all kinds of crazy stuff. Sometimes you just get a goofy like debug screen saying, this doesn't work. Try another game or whatever. And then other times something else would work. But it was really cool. I thought it was
try putting your bologna sandwich in your Sonic and Knuckles. And you get a picture of Knuckles eating your bologna sandwich.
How'd you know how this works? Good job.
I'm following along. Yeah. I'm catching on to the patterns here.
I like it, man. I like it. But no, dude, that was sweet. But that's something I definitely want to go back and give a shot there. So yeah, you've got the adaptability, you got the plug and play, the whole mini replica, the HDMI upscaling, and the wired control pads. Now, to keep in mind about the control pads, something so cool here. One thing that the Sega controller had the layout a lot of people really liked was the arcade style 6-button layout. And to this day, even in fighting game communities, in fact, I think the Sega Saturn and PS2 controller is still one of the most valuable wired controllers you can possibly own because of how sharp and responsive it is. But that 6-button layout is something that's just still loved today, not just by fighting game players, but I mean that's when I think back to Sega, that's the classic look. So the fact that they're preserving that controller, that hopefully it has the same kind of good D-pad, good responsiveness to it, that's going to be really exciting to see.
I had heard otherwise though. I had heard that the US version was only going to have 3 buttons.
There you go. Dump bum bum bum.
I was going to ask you about this if you were not going to bring it up. Yeah, I mean, do the games need more than 3?
I don't think so, man. I mean, you're talking to a guy that, I ran through Sonic. I pretty much pressed C, and I used D-pad. Like, that's it.
Is that for run and break?
Pretty much. But then you had stuff, I mean, Streets of Rage a little more. You had special, you had jump, you had normal attack, you had back attack, you had throws, things like that. That started to bring things into the fold a little bit more. But yeah.
But so, I also heard the US version does get 2 controllers.
Yes, no, it does. It does. Yeah. That part is right.
I would have to. Yeah, I would inquire anyone to check on that yourself. Also, there's basically half a year until this comes out.
Yeah, September.
So you got time for them to, because I guess there's been a bit of an outcry over this.
Yeah.
Again, I would not know. I did not have your dirty Sega, so.
You had that but I'm actually, there's actually another piece I have to this, and I'm kind of getting crossed. I do want to verify this. Yes, 2 controllers, but yes, with the Sega Mini, you do get the 3-button. That is true. There's a variation I want to talk about in a second here that's going to have the full layout. If you're looking for something besides Sega Mini that I thought went with this in a really interesting way. So again, hey, keep an eye out for this. Look, if you guys are looking to pre-order this, it's going to be like hotcakes. Get your hands on it while you can.
$80.
$80.
40 games.
If you were a Sega guy, or if you just want to jump back into the retro stuff, here's your spot to do it.
And you actually get a whole console where you can play your old games hooked up through HDMI.
I like it.
Now that'll be interesting. Will the old cartridge games actually look right on your flat screen connected like that?
That's true. Because a lot of times you get the box layout.
That's why we're discussing these things.
Exactly. We haven't had all the rest of the stuff with the...
We're here for you. To pull holes and all this stuff.
I love the salesman voice here.
Oh, I'm actually kind of leaning back right now.
Okay. Oh, man. But, there's a couple of other options here. If you're just looking at the retro classic stuff, specifically in regard to Sega. There's a variation that is a lot more expensive. It's gonna rack you about $200 here. But
oh my god!
Yeah, it's here. In fact, I'm gonna while I talk about this, I'm gonna show this to you too because I just think this sort of belongs in the conversation.
Are you talking about the hybrid one that's got the NES and the Super NES and the Genesis and all that stuff?
No, this is plain and pure Sega, dude.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about the hybrid that's called my computer, where I just download the emulators and get the ROMs and
Um,
play all the games
well,
out?
I was actually talking about the Dutch oven, but that's another, I guess
Oh
that's
my
another
god.
story. So no, check this out. This is I
Analog.
yeah, I gotta put this side because this actually has a connectivity, if you like, to your old Sega CD and Mega CD, but there's some expansion doors and just some cool little stuff here that's actually going down that you actually have. So, um, couple of things. I'm talking about this one first. There's the analog Mega SG, and then I'm gonna talk about the Mega SG general review. So notice right at the top here, you see that 6-button layout,
Mm-hmm.
classic, controller and stuff like that. This has got a lot of the little upscale, features. The no emulators. It's 1080p. The idea is, no lag behind it. It's a plug and play setup, for micro USB. I need to say that whole thing. You get the wireless receiver for the controllers. You get the 6-button layout and stuff like that. The big thing this focuses on, though, is the sound quality too, because there's a lot of times, if you guys remember, I don't know if any of you have actually studied how 16-bit sound worked, and even like going back even further, like 8-bit sound.
Even I remember the Sega had bad sound.
Right. There are a lot of instances where sound effects would come in, or specific parts in action would make huge breaks in the soundtracks. Because there was only so much processing that could happen at any given time to that. But the compositions of some of, not just like the soundtracks, but like some like this designs in general, like the way the whole soundscape is laid out in like the Sega and Super Nintendo days were brilliant. Some of the most I think iconic things I can remember in gaming come out of that era. Before we were talking about PlayStation and the CD quality stuff. These were amazing times, and it always bothered me somewhere in the back of my mind whenever that weird sound effect would come up and it would just like interrupt everything. But this bumps up and upscales all of that, so you don't run into it. You get high fidelity audio with this. You're at your 48 kilohertz, 16 stereo. I mean that's right where you should be, as far as for recording and stuff like that. And this is really an optimized sound experience, like for Sega, and a pretty optimized, for just equipment and stuff like that. So, if
That's why it's $200.
pretty much
Mm.
you get so actually the 200 for the most part are for some of these ads to due to shipping. I know, like, it's like roughly like 189, like 190 plus like $10 shipping. Most spots you can actually get this, but still it's the same thing. Um, I do really like the fact that you get multiple resolution support with this. It's not just the 1080. You can go, to 480 if you want. Also, you can switch up and use the 3.5 millimeter analog stereo port, like, so you got, the old school, plug ports and stuff like that. Um, and then you've even got some of the other modern alternatives, for controllers. There's the promoted M30, and then like some of the old 8-bit, stuff like that. So, for those of you who had Sega CD, and some of the older systems, stuff like that, if you want something that can not only have some connectivity with that, but is just a really optimized Sega thing you can get right now without having to worry about pre-order, maybe you want to check into this. Maybe. Just saying it's an
Yep.
option.
That's the anal logo.
Yeah. Oh man.
$200 is too much. That's a slick
It's
little
high.
thing.
It's
It's
high.
got all the bells and whistles, and it looks really neat. But $200 is too much.
Yeah, it's up there, man. Like for something like this. I I'd rather wait for the mini. If I were a real Sega CD hog, I might consider this. Now, I'll say this. I almost became a Sega CD owner when I was a kid, but I didn't. It was a buddy of mine who had one, and I'd go over to his house to play if I wanted to check it out. So,
No, but you had a Game Gear.
I had a Game Gear. Yes, I did. That was my first portable. That's what and you know what? I never got, sorry about that. Oh, my mic. I never got Game Boy until the days of SP. When the Game Boy, not the Game Boy Pocket. It was the game. They had the SP and then like the Pocket SP. There were two editions of it. One looked like a cube. That was when I really got into Game Boy. Wasn't until the 2000s, but oh my gosh, dude, Game Gear. Oh man, Sonic Chaos and all the rest
you
of
could play
those.
for a whole 30 minutes before your batteries are
Oh,
dead.
the batteries! Don't remind me. Those are the worst. The worst. So
We used to throw stuff at the kid on the bus who had the Game Gear.
I knew you were a bully.
Because we all had Game Boys, so he'd be sitting there with his Game Gear. Well, that wasn't why. That was part of the reason why. Sorry.
Oh man.
True story.
It's that Game Gear kid. Oh man.
Which is ironic because the Game Gear was like 3 times more expensive.
It was. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, he was like the dirty poor kid.
So I don't get it. Like
Yeah, I don't get it either. They're dumb kids.
I mean, what did he like? What was he like? Run up and you guys like, oh, like Game Gear's better. Like,
No, I don't remember. I just don't.
Fair enough.
We did no. He was look, when I took the bus to school, that's when I lived out in the country. Okay, there's a lot of weird folk. All right, myself included. Everybody deserved to get picked on for something or another. Just that some people had more reasons than others. No, I was actually most of the time. You know this. Most of the time, I'd be the person to stand up for somebody.
Right.
But yeah, no, we did kind of.
I got you.
You threw a couple things at the Game Gear.
You know what, Sandra? Right? Those are the days, man. Look, the console tensions were high.
They were.
I get it. There's a Nintendo crowd. There is the Sega crowd, and there
was everybody else. There was the Sega crowd.
Absolutely, and there were the heated I still remember the playground arguments, dude. Dude, oh, you don't even go there. Sega versus Nintendo, man. Oh, that's a whole can of worms. Love it.
No, anyways.
Anyway. So that's what's on the horizon for Sega. There's a couple options out there. Of course, it looks like the Mini is the best one to wait for right now. So as the rest of the list comes out for that, we're going to cover that ASAP. Hopefully we see the other 30 as soon as we can. I mean,
hopefully it will be better than PlayStation.
I hope so, and don't have any alterations. And
I might get my first Sega ever.
That'd be awesome.
I am very much looking forward to more news on this thing.
And then you can play Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
I bet somewhere in that last 30 games we got to hear about, I bet one of the Streets of Rage games is going to be it. Just watch. I bet.
This is the first time hearing about Streets of Rage on Sega, so.
Really? This is where it's born, man.
I don't know. I didn't have a Sega.
I know. But Sega, like Streets of Rage was like it was like Final Fight's competitor. Actually, it was the other way around.
I played Double Dragon.
Now, Final Fight came and competed with Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage was first. Yeah, Double Dragon came before either one of them. So, yeah, you played the OG. Was there? Wait, there wasn't Team Damage in Double Dragon. Was there?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It could have been.
I don't think. But oh well. Well, rounding off our game discussion, last on the list was an article that came out on Kotaku. Now, this is just recent within the last week or so. I'm sure those of you who follow gaming news have probably seen this surface, but I want to connect some dots here. This article is really something that points to industry practice at large. This is why it's been getting so much attention, so many upvotes, and such a close look at that. But this started from a discussion about Anthem, and the article is titled BioWare's Anthem.
I get my bib.
Here we go. BioWare's Anthem, how BioWare's Anthem went wrong. That's actually the full title for it. And you know, part of the reason this discussion is actually so important is talking about the production cycle that happened going into this and the anticipation of it. Now, look, unless you guys really haven't been looking, Anthem has received less than rosy reviews. It's been lukewarm. It's the best way I can describe it out the gate. And things have been rough since. It's been a really tough release. It's been a really rough road trying to get things back on track. I think ever since that E3 demo at 2017 where people were like hyped out of their minds, it feels like this whole scope and vision changed so much. Everybody was asking why. What happened to that Anthem that we saw at E3 opposed to what we got here? So the
fair question.
It is. The article writer, Jason Schreier, another killer piece. He's done some other really, really good work lately. But goes all the way back. I want to start with some basics here. Originally, Anthem wasn't even called Anthem. It was going to be called Beyond. And they had the press kits and the press releases and the shirts and everything ready to go for it. And then, word came down, from EA that there was going to be difficulty securing the rights and the trademark for that. It was going to be too hard. So the name got kicked out and Anthem came up instead. Now, Anthem was always sort of, believe it or not, the second go-to for the team. But the reason I think they didn't coalesce around that was because, well, it didn't feel like it went as much. To quote the team, I think what they were aiming for here was sort of like the Bob Dylan of gaming. But let's face it, that was going to take a lot more time, I think, to do than what was actually given. And, some of the larger points, and Bold, I want to, kind of encircle and kind of summarize here about the upheaval behind Anthem was this thing called Bioware Magic and the insane crunch that happened with this game. There was a lot on the table for this of like the first demos. There's a tradition within Bioware to have a company demo out and to have a playable version around Christmas time or so. And there was talk between some of the EA execs who, the original gameplay didn't come off as well. They called in some other parties from outside to try to enhance it graphically and everything else. Flight was taken out of the game completely at one point and then, then actually returned. But it came to this insane crunch where, honestly, they really could have used years more, at least a couple of years more, and were expected to do that, with less than a third of that time, to just grind out this game and get something out to launch. And it really comes down to this era we're in now of, and you know this as someone who's worked with multimedia content and stuff, we'll do it in post. How many times have you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
The post approach to things, especially with live service games where we are now, is something that I think that it can really be a gamble for AAA companies. On the one hand, it's easy to kind of shift things off and say, well, it's going to be a live service. We're going to continue to support it. We'll go with this in post. And to be honest, despite the utterly insane crunch that the Bioware team got put behind for this, there was really a belief, according to just the multitude of devs interviewed, like 1930 plus, that they really had something coming to market here that they could get behind and support. And they were met with a really rough reception from that. I think not as rough even as they'd anticipated. But the point is, the idea of live service, I think, gets distorted like that. Of covering everything in post to the point where your community feels like they're beta testing can really leave a sour impression. And that's been something that I think's been
permanent one too.
Permanent. People on the Anthem Reddit have especially been very, very vocal about this, saying it's unbelievable to have something not just AAA, but where this has been heading to be capsized like this, and then effectively the delivery we have is we're still testing features. I think the core thing people all agree about is there's solid core gameplay or something really impressive there, but it's so hard to get that out of the shell of everything that's surrounded it to this point. And, I almost even feel that Bioware didn't have the full time to explore the kind of depth of storytelling that we see in Mass Effect and everything like that. Like, you see the paintings all over this to where it was, the original single-player RPG experience, and that kind of falls away because of the multiplayer thing, and it's part this, it's part that. The whole point being, there were 19 plus who stepped forward, devs, talking about this article, who either worked on Anthem directly or who were directly adjacent actually to it, and just the conditions, the morale, what was actually happening in the studio, just the dive a lot of people's health took. I mean, if you're content producers, look, we go through this kind of stuff regularly, but it was especially, I think, exaggerated here. And I think what people, what the insider nickname for all this whole process that was happening became of stress casualties, basically. And this was a bump that Bioware really needed, after the not a good reception from the last Mass Effect game, from Andromeda and everything they wanted to do here. It's rough, and just not hitting that point in the board. And I think with EA's expectations and management there, and the expect for the crunch, it's really created a compounded problem. And I've said it too, as someone who's still playing Anthem, who's going through it, the coverage, waiting to see what's going to come of those 90 days. Are they going to be able to spin out of that hole or not? How far can they get out of that? It's still something that's just looking dicey. Each fix brings a whole other set of problems. Either loot gets broken, or we go back and we're addressing that, and it's sort of one step forward, two steps back in a lot of ways. And I root for it. I'll root for Bioware all the way, but this is a really precarious situation. I think at large, this was a really good article to shine a spotlight on where some of the industry practice is right now, and where a lot of this falls, for devs and where they fit into the whole equation. So, hey, I can't recommend this article any higher to you guys. Again, go to Kotaku and check out how Bioware's Anthem went wrong. It's a great read. If you haven't been digging into this stuff, you should open your eyes a little bit about where some stuff in the industry sits.
Everybody thinks they're Blizzard.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they can make WoW.
Yeah.
Even all these years later, even WoW couldn't make WoW nowadays.
No.
Stop it. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
EA might actually have a good argument of, well, we can't be looked at any worse. So, they could actually just be as shitty as they want, maybe, and go with that argument. Just stop. But they spent 5 years on Anthem?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Why don't you go on game and chat with somebody in there and ask them?
Oh, burn. Burn, burn, burn. I love it. Actually, I'm sorry. I believe that's 6 years. And
you can't even interact with people.
It needed 8. I mean, at least 7. At least 7. It really could have used that extra year just for polish. I think with that, at least getting that buffer off on what was actually there already and fully fleshing out that content, that would have done it worlds of good. Really could have used it, but
EA has been able to get this, buy a full game as well as make game of service with microtransactions. They've been able to successfully get this into their sports games, and they've been chomping at the bit and trying again and again and again and again to try to get into other games. And it's not working. It's just not working. And the industry is moving away from game as a service. And not that I don't think it should be there, because there are games that can use that.
Sure.
But, boy, you've got one hell of a mess here.
Yeah. It's,
and BioWare is going to go down for it.
That's what hurts. That's what hurts. It's just the last thing I want to see at the end of this is another studio with the stellar past record gutted.
I don't care.
So
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't. Just whatever ones have to go down to make this shit stop.
Right.
Go.
Okay.
Just go. I don't care anymore. You got to take neither of them. Take neither of them.
Right.
And I love neither of them. If you got to take, Insomniac. Do it. Just stop this.
Do it live.
Not, and those are two good companies with hearts, with actual hearts and guts to them.
Yep.
But so many of them just don't anymore. And BioWare is one of them.
Yeah.
And Blizzard is another. And that's why I don't care. These companies got gutted years ago.
Yep.
So, whatever you got to do, this impending fall, this second coming of a video game apocalypse, which I do believe in.
Yeah.
Just do it already.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Get these people out of the industry. It's time for another purge. Let's do a purge. I'll join in on a purge. I have credentials. I have a degree. I worked in 3D modeling animation. I can do this. I would gladly purge.
Oh man. Front lines.
I know right where Blizzard's headquarters is. I drove right by it when I lived in Texas. I'll start there.
Oh boy. So that is going to bring me to the end of our gaming roundup and right into an info minute. Chris, This info
Are
minute's
you
for...
going to ask me another question you should have told me about before we started recording?
I will ask you a question, but I think you'll know about this. You're going to know about this. This info minute is for you. This is this is with you in mind.
All right.
Do you remember anything specific around? Were you playing WoW around 2005?
Oh, math. Yes.
There's an event that came up then, and I was like, I'm shocked I didn't. We've been talking about zombies and zombie apocalypse stuff, and I was like, how come I never realized that you had an apocalyptic zombie style event in World of Warcraft? I never knew.
Okay, so are you talking about the dot, the blood dot?
I believe it was called a blood dot, or like corrupted blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This you, my friend, I do hope to hear a bit of a spotlight from this about you. So just to give some background here, this is 2005. This is a glitch in World of Warcraft. This allowed for this plague that basically spread through the game, swept through different cities and stuff like that, and it was called the Corrupted Blood Incident. This began September 13th, 2005, lasted for 1 week. More than 2 million players all over the world were, of course, affected by this thing, and people were posting about how crazy a world event this was and everything like that.
It wasn't a world event. They didn't mean for it to happen.
But it's kind of spiraled out of control, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
The auction houses were covered in corpses and bones. No, it's everything you've heard. It really was
Crazy.
So this came off of the final boss from the raid. Gosh, I cannot remember the name right now. It was my favorite raid for like forever. Hakar. Came from Hakar. It's a dot that he would put on people. I cannot remember why at this point. However, it had to do with the mechanics of the end game fight. However, when they first came out, hunters could get that on their pets, and the dot would be on their pet. And when they would leave the raid, it wouldn't follow the player characters, but it followed the hunter's pet. And so
that's crazy.
The dot got out. That's how the dot got out. And it literally through and at that time Ironforge was the hugest town, but Stormwind was still pretty popular. Yeah, you would pass by a person, or they would pass by you, and they would give you this dot. And the point of it was to kill you. And so that's what it did. No, it got nuts. I remember when I first logged into it, and I logged into the game, and there were skeleton bones everywhere. And then because when you die, your corpse would be there until you release. And then when you your corpse would be there until you got to your corpse to resurrect from running from the graveyard. And at that point, it would leave a skeleton there. And so there were thousands, probably tens of thousands of sets of skeleton bones everywhere. And the best part was the auction house, because everybody would run up to the auctioneer, to see what the auctioneer has, see what's on the auction house. And all it would take is for one person who would have that dot to go over there. Boom, they're all contaminated. And yeah, people would love it. There would be, of course, trolls. And I played on a PvP server. So, we were like 50% trolls. BlackRock, by the way. Shout out to BlackRock. Yeah, no, people would love it. They would, there would be main horde players who would create alliance players just to go get contaminated, to go contaminate people at the auction house and spread it. And yeah, this is a whole thing. And people were starting to kind of make makeshift kind of communities and surrounding small towns to the major towns and all that stuff. It's my understanding that the CDC even did studies on this.
They did.
And how people reacted and what you could do in a situation in a mass populated environment and how people would react. A lot of players tried to help other players as well. Probably not so much on my server, because of BlackRock.
Yeah.
But because we were a PvP server, and also it was like half assholes. So,
right.
But this would affect the PvE servers as well. Yeah, it was a pretty big thing. Took them a little bit to get the patch going, and then they patched it up, and then pets wouldn't bring it out anymore. So,
There you have it.
But yeah, it, of course,
it.
is the dirty rabies from your pet.
Love it. Love the context. Yeah, when I was reading about this, the studies that were done on it, that was one thing that really caught my attention about this, and I'm like, I got to talk to somebody who actually lived through this, who was there. Like, that's cool.
The thing was, it was a very powerful dot, and at this point in the game, I think we're not, maybe even just a year in. I mean, the majority of your players weren't endgame players anymore. They were still mid-level players, running around and grazing greens.
Right.
So it would not take much for it to kill you. You wouldn't have a lot of time. And of course, it's the first person's reaction, ironically, is in a fight or flight situation to fly, and they would run towards other people, looking for them to help them, looking for a priest to like cure disease or something, and run up to the priest and then contaminate all of them. It was crazy. It was crazy in the main cities. You stayed away. You went and did all your crappy quests that you didn't want to do for a week.
Wow, yeah, I was gonna ask if there were any like NPCs back in WoW or something that could, remove status effects, but
nothing like that. That's yeah.
Gotcha.
Not that I remember.
Yeah,
You're just gonna have to ride it out to your death.
Yeah, you don't see that stuff as much these days. I know in some of like the older MMOs, you had that, like town medics or like a town healer and stuff like that. But yeah, like most of the modern stuff I've seen, FF14 and beyond. Yeah, you get something bad. Yeah, you wrap that up, buddy. Go sit on the bench. I don't know. So.
Put some tussin on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, cool. Thanks for the history. Love it. Yeah. See, now it's a question you could deal with, right?
Yeah.
Love it. All right. People, we've reached the end of another show. And hey, if you've hung with us to this point, thank you so much for tuning in. We sure appreciate it. Be sure to stay tuned right here on our channel for more of our game reviews, our movie reviews, our Let's Plays, all that good stuff. In fact, if you dig what you're hearing, a like really helps us, and you know what? A sub goes even further. Can't emphasize this anymore. Infinity War is something we're really going to do our best to have to you guys early to tune in. So whatever other channels, wherever you're thinking about checking out for that, come on over here and check out our review for that. We're going to have that for you near the end of this month. So, in fact, I'm going to sweeten the deal. Anybody here who tosses a like or sub, you get a bouquet of balloons and possibly a rainbow sticker out of me. You heard it here first. Anyway, thanks again, people, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Take it easy. We'll see you again soon. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it's great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.